you so much. It's an honor to be here. Hello.
Hello. Yona Pizza. Yona Pizza. Sorry.
Bluma.
Okay.
Ilona. Yeah.
Ilona Pizza Bluma.
Exactly. Right. Perfect. And it's also a big pleasure for me to be here. So thank you.
Okay, thank you for joining the session, Yona. So our three speakers will help us understand more deeply about qualitative research. This will be very beneficial for our academic climate in Indonesia, which is still dominant in the use of quantitative research. Session of today, I will become your moderator and very happy to be part of this session. And before going into the material that we are going to listen to, let me read their CV, the CV of our speakers of today. There will be Professor Mariola Bitsa, the professor at the University of Gdańsk, Poland. Department of Psychology and Neuropsychology, Institute of Psychology. And he has 2 children. Any qualification here? Course in Moreno Psychodrama organized by the European Moreno Institute. Also qualification course in education for professionally active teachers organized by the Center of Educational and Social Services in Gdańsk. Course in andragogy organized by the Center for Continuing Teacher Education, Association for Adult Education. This course in Organization and Management of Educational Institutions at the Center for Educational and Social Services in Gdańsk. And also she is certified specialist in neurofeedback therapy, a specialist in environmental therapy, specialist in EEG and EEG. I think you have been familiar with our speaker, and I will also introduce you to Agatha Rudnick. Her studies in psychology in 2010, as well as in social communication and journalism in 2011 at the University of Gdańsk. After that, she continued her postgraduate education in clinical psychology, and in Scandinavian studies. Since 2009, she has been gaining the experience not only in psychology, but also as a public relations specialist and journalist. In 2014, she finished doctoral studies in psychology and started working as a research assistant and academic teacher at the University of Gdańsk. And she is very familiar with qualitative research, as we will see later, because it is under supervision of Professor Jonathan Smith in England. The title of her doctoral dissertation was Psychological Resources of the Individual and the Quality of Life of Patients with Gastrointestinal Diseases. Her scientific field of interest is focused mainly on health-related quality of life, psychosomatics, narrative medicine, interpretative phenomenological analysis, and design thinking. Brief introduction about our speaker, Agatha Rudnick. Our third speaker is Bitsan Zuma. He is certified specialist in clinical psychology, especially in neuropsychology. 2014 to 2018, took specialization in clinical psychology, neuropsychology, the Medical University of Gdansk, where her postgraduate studies about sports psychology. In 2016, she took degree in psychology at the University of Social Sciences and Humanities in support master thesis. In sport master thesis. Sorry. Master thesis is about her master thesis is about the influence of smoking on executive functions in people suffering from schizophrenia. So that is a very brief introduction about our three speakers today. I hand over the microphones and screen to our three speakers. I want to tell the participants to make sure that all microphones are turned off so that our speakers can flow with their presentation. Later, there will be time for questions and answers after the material. So, I would like to hand over the microphones and the screen to our speakers today to come us with this method. Please go on with your presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for introducing and thank you so much for inviting us to Indonesia for your university. As we decided with Veronica, again, I want to give you possibility to see our university and 5 minutes about our department and our university now. As you remember, so one moment. As you remember, we are from University of Gdańsk in Poland. Our university is in the north of Poland, close to the Baltic Sea. As I told you last time, our university is the largest university in the Pomerania region. You see our main campus. As you see, there's this big one. We have 11 faculties, 89 fields of study, 212 specializations, and a lot of students. We have students and also doctoral students and postgraduate students. You see now a building of a faculty of biology, now a very modern also faculty of chemistry, faculty of economics, faculty of management, faculty of economy and management are in Opot, very close to Gdańsk. Faculty of Law and Administration is very close to our department. We see this building from our windows. Faculty of Oceanography and Geography. As you remember, we have research catamaran and students and researchers from Oceanography and Geography, but also from other faculties have nice possibility to do research, not only connected with oceanography using this ship. Faculty of Languages, Faculty of Biotechnology is intercollegiate Faculty of Biotechnology between our university, University of Gdańsk, and Medical University of Gdańsk. Agata, Ilona, and me strictly collaborated with this university, so not only biotechnology but also psychologists are strictly connected with this university. This is our library. It's very modern, and we have a lot of volumes, and of course we used specially from parts, it's our lifestyle. And our Faculty of Social Science, we have 6 institutes. Of course, the more important is psychology. At our institute, you last time, 2 days ago, you met your new director, Professor Paweł Jurek. I was director of this institute for 9 years. Agata is now vice director of this institute, so you can meet all our direction now. We have 12 fields of study, and as you see, diplomacy, early education, journalism and social communication. Agata also finished journalism and social communication, national security, philosophy, pedagogy, political sciences, social work, sociology and special pedagogy, and our psychology with specialization of biopsychology is the only one specialization in Poland connected with biopsychology. The only one in Poland specialization in psychosexuology, and we have also separate specialization work and organization psychology. As you see, we have almost 5,000 students. We have full-time and extramural students, and especially for your students, for candidates for PhD, this year we start for the first time English language postgraduate studies start for PhD. This week we will have the first meeting. We have several students from all the world, and it's for us it's also new, but I think that such start for PhD will be very interesting for many people, not only for open Polish universities, but also for this that our study are from social sciences, not only from psychology. Of course, for psychologists will be special point of view and more lectures and workshops on psychology, but they are common for all our faculties. We have a lot of students' organization at our faculty, and as you see, it is our teaching staff, especially for example, for inauguration new academic year. All professors have pink one clothes, and it is always well celebrated. My new doctoral students, I have 15. Dr. Agata is one of them. Our department of clinical and neuropsychology, and as you see, also Pavel is here. Our students and our researchers have possibility to have research grant from various things. We should check up Erasmus grants and NAVA grants, because I have enough time to do it, but probably it will be possibility for us to changing our students and our staff using Erasmus grants and NAVA grants. And our scientific journals, only in our faculty of science, and you see we have two psychological current issues in personality psychology, as well as health psychology report. I'm editor-in-chief of health psychology report. They are, all our journals, current issues in personality psychology and are open access, so you have possibility to read article still today without any cost, and our citation are very, very nice now, and our institute staff of our are changing. But as you see, we have quite nice and short staff. We have not only old and in middle-aged people, but also a lot of young people, and this is autumn in Poland, and I think that we will miss your this picture, and some of you will change your sun very hot for our cold bodies and for our seasons. So we will start now our lecture connected to qualitative research, methods, and psychology. Please, Agatka, start and share this from your computer.
Okay, thank you very much for the introduction. And now this is time to go into the material about the qualitative research. Please, Agatha Rudnik, the microphone is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So now I'm going to share my screen, and yeah, so let's do that. Of course, I'm going to
common lecture, but of course, this person who will talk about something will share because it will be easier for us.
Okay, do you see my screen? Is everything okay?
Yeah, it is clear to see. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to start to talk more about narrative medicine because, as you said, today I have a plan to talk also about interpretative phenomenological analysis. But first, I would like to start with narrative medicine because I think and I feel that it's a really important topic, especially nowadays when we have sickness. Both of them, they are so important, and talk about it, it's even more important. So, of course, as you said at the beginning, I work not only as a scientist, but also as a psychologist at the gastroenterology ward. So here some bullet points for this presentation. So first, about me and myself, mostly you used to who am I? But I would really love to emphasize that I'm a psychologist and I work with patients with gastrointestinal problems. With such problems like Crohn's disease, inflammatory bowel disease, or irritable bowel syndrome. You are aware that somehow our guts, they are like second brain for us. So this is why it's so important also to talk more with patients. So then I will tell you more about narrative medicine, just a kind of introduction to that. About teamwork at my ward, about a patient and the future of narrative medicine. And then I will just to interpretative phenomenological analysis. But first, I would like all of you to watch something together. Do you see the screen and the YouTube?
Screen, but okay.
Yeah?
We hear the sound of the YouTube, but we cannot see the screen.
Okay. So maybe I will just in case, I will share it again.
All right.
Okay. So I guess it should be okay. Yeah? Now
Yeah.
it should be.
Yeah, it is on the screen now. Thank you.
Watch it together. sorry. Okay, so I've seen this short video many times, but actually every time I have the same feeling, and yeah, it works like that. That there is a one hospital, but there are so many people around, and all of them, they have their own story. So I guess that's the most important thing. Okay, so still I have a question. Do you see my presentation? Everything okay?
Yes, it is clear. Thank you.
Oh, so yeah, still you can see Gdańsk. So a lot of Gdańsk today, and of course our team and our university. But Professor Bizan, she fulfilled the whole subject of our university. So just. Okay, coming back to narrative medicine, please remember this name, Rita Haron. She's from Columbia University, and if you are looking for any inspiration or for her lectures, you can find everything on YouTube. There are a lot of her lectures on YouTube. There are also some courses that you can have online. Some of them they are for free. So if you are interested in this subject, absolutely please check this name, and please remember about Rita Haron, because for now she's the one, and she's the person who is mostly responsible for the development of this subject. So she said that sick people, they need physicians who can understand their diseases, treat their medical problems, and accompany them through their illnesses. So it's not only about giving receipt and giving diagnose, but it's most about the relationship between the doctor and the patient, and also the staff, the medical personnel, and also the patient's relatives, because when someone is ill, when someone is sick, the whole family needs support. So it's not only about the patient. So thanks to narrative medicine and listening to patient stories, the diagnosis can be improved. That's the one point. And another point is that also there's an improvement of relationship between a doctor and a patient. And I think that's the most important thing, especially that a lot of studies show that when the relation between doctor and a patient, between the medical staff and a patient is sufficient, is good, is just enough, then there is a bigger chance that he or she will continue the treatment, won't stop the treatment, because it's a huge problem that a lot of patients, they decide to stop treatment and to stop taking pills or to stop going to, regular checkups and so on. So that is why it's really important to build such a connection. So when we are looking for some situation and narrative situation, as I said before, there is of course relationship between a physician and a patient, physician and self, physician and colleagues, and physician and society. So when it comes to physician and self, still, if you are looking for any inspiration, please check the JAMA, the Journal of American Medical Association, because they print a lot of interesting, super interesting articles about physicians' experience. And I still remember, and I have in my mind, one article about a girl, actually a doctor, a woman, who was sharing her story while working with blood, and it was published just before Halloween, so it was even more creepy, but it was really interesting why she decided to work in the field of blood, and why she decided to work with transfusions. Really interesting. And still, it's a narrative medicine. I mean, sharing your experience. So not only narrative medicine is about listening to patient's story, but also to listen to physician's story. I mean, it's really important, especially if you are just at the beginning of your way to be a doctor, to listen to some other stories, to listen to some other experience of physicians. So I guess that even for if you are a psychologist, for example, it's also good to know what work means for a doctor, especially if you are a clinical psychologist. So yeah, I totally and definitely I recommend you to find such articles. I mean, when doctors, they share their experience. Some stories, they are really, funny. Some of them are creepy. And some of them are really, really sad. So I guess that whatever you are looking for, you will find it. I'm pretty sure of it. And of course, it's all about physician and colleagues, because mainly doctors, they spend more time at work than at home, especially nowadays. We all know what it means. So it's really important also to somehow share the experience. And society, as I said before, also it's all about family, about relatives, and we should also remember that the psychological support is not only for a patient or for a medical staff, but also for relatives. So please remember about it. Okay, through the narrative competence. So if we have narrative competence, we can reach and somehow join patients in illness. As we saw in this short video, we can step into patients' shoes. And I think that's the most important thing. If we have enough time, I mean, if doctor, he or she has enough time to devote to the patient, thanks to that, he or she can get really important information. Of course, it's still about time. And mainly doctors, they don't have enough time to listen to a story. But if they have, still, I guess it's really, really important to understand how it works, how the disease works, how also how to create the environment for the patient. What is more, to step into shoes, to feel like you are a patient. Okay, what is more, thanks to narrative competence, we can recognize personal journeys through medicine. Yeah, it's all about those stories, doctors' stories, sharing their experience, sharing what they feel at the beginning of their career, or just before getting retired or something. How do they feel? So I think that still it's really, really valuable to listen to or to read those stories, to acknowledge as well. Also, to somehow to have this a kind of discourse with the public about healthcare. So especially nowadays, but later I know that Professor and Ilona, they will tell you more about the research, the future of the research during the pandemic era. So as well here, of course, we are also looking for some narratives of patients. And thanks to that, we can share it with the broaden public, and also we can talk about it more. And we can share it with the public healthcare. Okay, thanks to narrative competence, still a physician can practice medicine with empathy, reflection, professionalism, and trustworthiness. All of them, they are so important, really. We are that thanks to all of those, like empathy, reflection, professionalism, and trustworthiness, it's more possible that the patient won't stop the therapy and the treatment. I think it's really amazing, like building up such a relation with a patient through this empathy and so on. I guess it's so important. Okay, so you can see, thanks to narrative knowledge, we can understand the meaning and the significance of it. We can also improve the effectiveness of the work with patients. And thanks to that, we have also this, patient-centered medicine. So it's all about the patient. The patient is in the center of everything. And it's all about biopsychosocial medicine, because we have three different dimensions. It's all about biology, of course, but those factors connected with psychology and sociology, social factors, psychological factors, they are so important. And thanks to them, we can work more and better on biological factors. So I put some citations like narrative deals with experiences, not with prepositions. Yeah, and it's all about words, of course, but it's all about people, definitely. So 3 questions like who tells it, who hears it, and why and how it is told. So if we are working in the field of narrative, in the field of narrative medicine, we should remember about all of those questions. We should answer them, and then we can, of course, we can publish it. Sorry. So at my word, it's all about patient, of course, but still we have to remember that it's a kind of model. That we have a patient, of course, then we have a doctor, we have other medical staff, we have psychologists, and of course other patients. Normally, I would add also family, for example, but nowadays it's not possible to have relatives at the ward. Unfortunately, because we all know how important it is to meet with your family when you are in the hospital or your close ones, but for now it's not possible. So I think, being honest, that for me, I feel even bigger responsibility, because it's not possible for patients to see their families when they are at the hospital. So somehow, for few minutes, sometimes an hour, sometimes 40 minutes, I feel like the closest person to this patient. So still, I guess it's a huge responsibility, especially nowadays, and especially when the level of anxiety now, it's really high. So I would say that I'm really lucky because I feel really appreciated at my work, and I know that what I'm saying and what I'm telling is really important for doctors, for nurses. Sometimes they even ask me, could you please tell us more about this patient? Could you please share your experience with his or her? So still, it's all about responsibility. But on the other hand, I guess that what I do, it is a kind of narrative medicine. So I have more time, definitely, I have more time than doctor to talk with a patient, to listen to her or his story about the illness, about the past with illness, about how everything has started. And then we can discuss about it and talk more about anxiety, talk more about the future, the anxiety connected with disease in the future, what is going to be, and yeah. So I guess that thanks to that, I have more time. I can listen to more, and then I can share it with the doctor. And also sometimes, and I'm pretty sure for that, that sometimes it also helps to develop and diagnose. So it's still all about responsibility, but I'm really glad that I can help in such a way. Okay, so I told you that mostly I work with patients with inflammatory bowel diseases like Crohn's disease or inflammatory or colitis ulcerosa. So it's the different one, but still it's an inflammatory bowel disease. So all of those two, they are chronic diseases. So patient, unfortunately, they have to live with them till the end of their life. What is more, there are some, remissions and flare-ups of the disease, which is really hard because it's really, in fact, it's not possible to say how it works. We don't have a cure for that, and mostly patients, they complain of diarrhea, weight loss, a lot of pain, nausea, fatigue. So of course we can totally aware that all of those symptoms, they can hinder their daily life functioning, and also it can lower the quality of their lives. So what we know for sure, that all of those, they are connected with the high level of anxiety and a high level of shame, because it's connected with your stomach, it's connected with some diarrhea, nausea, and also we know that it's connected, unfortunately, with depression. So still we are looking for the connection between the depression, the symptoms of depression, and the development of these diseases. But still there is no straight answer for that. For now, I would like to present you a case study of one of my patients. Today I'm going to present you more of those, but let me start with the first. I changed the name, so let's call him Lucas. So 34-year-old patient, male patient, suffering from Crohn's disease. He lives in a small town with his patients. Now he's currently single. He doesn't have any children. He started to study some IT, but unfortunately he decided to quit it. And so his disease, Crohn's disease, started in 2000. So you can imagine that being ill for more than 20 years, it's really demanding. And 5 years ago, I had the first meeting with him because of the flare-up. He came to our hospital, and our next meeting was 2 years later. But he felt then really, really sick. And he spent, believe me or not, almost 1 month at the hospital. You can only imagine how hard for him it was. Yeah, 1 month at the hospital. During those almost 30 days, we were able to meet 12 times, and actually we spent a lot of time together, and I do appreciate it because I had a great opportunity to get to know him better. Okay, so while he was at the hospital, not only we were talking, but also I used some questionnaires like MMPI 2 to MMPI 2 to take the personality inventory, and then the executive life scale questionnaire, and also cognitive flexibility questionnaire, just to check some psychological issues, some psychological data, to gain some more information about it. And then, of course, some in-depth interview. It wasn't IPA, so it wasn't interpretative phenomenological analysis. But I used this narrative medicine. So I asked as many questions as possible, and then I just, I recorded it, of course, before I asked him if it's okay for him and how I'm going to use it. Because, please remember that all of those ethical issues, they are absolutely necessary, and especially in terms of qualitative methods, all of those ethical issues are hugely important, because we are touching very intimate parts of experience. It's very hard. Really, sometimes all of those interviews, they are really hard for patients, and they are sharing with us so important part of their life. And one thing is to appreciate it, of course, but also to remember about all of those ethical stuff. So please remember also, always to ask about the contest. Yes. Please ask whether it's okay for him or for her while we are recording it. If you are going to transcribe it word by word, also you have to say it. You have to say how you are going to use the data. And of course, last but not least, please take the written consent. Yes? And everything should be write down in the consent. How you are going to use the data, what's the aim of the study, how you are going to use it, what about the outcomes, and so on. Of course, the patient has to be aware of everything. Yes? So ethical things are really, really important. Please don't forget about it. Okay, so thanks to the results, we know through the questionnaires that our patient Lucas displays some asocial behaviors, little capacity for happiness, little need for accomplishment, pessimistic approach to the future because of the disease. Of course, it's quite logical. And some passive dependent personality, low excitability, introversion, and underlying depression, distorted self-perception as a loser or a sense of being rejected by society. Also, thanks to questionnaires, we knew that his life satisfaction is rather low, and it also includes the accomplishments and living conditions. He also achieved really low scores in cognitive flexible scale, which means that he displays low cognitive flexibility and doesn't see any alternative possibilities of coping in difficult situations. So here I put some of his words, like, I remember standing with my friends, talking, and then it started, the feeling of rumbling in my stomach and watery stools, sometimes even 15 times a day. The disease has turned my life upside down. During my Polish matura exam, I was so high that all I could do was sitting, staring at the blank paper for 4 hours. I managed, however, to pass the math exam somehow. Then, when the patient was 28, I lost a lot of weight again. I had abdominal pains and diarrhea, and I lost appetite. It was then when the real depression came. I was mainly lying in bed and staring at the ceiling. I tried reading somehow, but I had huge problems with concentration. I kept nodding off. Okay, and here, as you see, of course, I had many pages of the interview, so I only put some words. But I do hope that after meetings with psychologists, with me, in fact, started actively looking for some possibilities of completing education. Also, it was possible to observe some declines in mood, and also thanks to that, I do hope that he willingly started some new topics, and for me it was even more important. But in the end, he started taking Accenture, so it's a medicine for depression. And he said, I will probably continue taking it for the rest of my life. It is impossible for me to live without these pills anymore. So I'm still wondering whether I should say that it was a kind of disaster for me as a psychologist. But on the other hand, I shouldn't say anything like that. I mean, of course, the one part is to the psychological support, but on the other hand, I completely understand that still pills are needed. And some conclusions after that. So thanks to effective cooperation between a gastroenterologist and psychologists, we help to provide the patients with adequate support during hospitalization and ensure the efficient treatment of the patient and his recovery after the surgical procedure. And what we know for sure that still there is a huge need to perform some screening tests for depression in patients with Crohn's disease. Still, I do appreciate the time that I could spend with my patient. I guess that it was really important for both me and for him. And ending like probably 12 hours and sharing my experience with doctors and with nurses, still, I guess it was really priceless. Okay, and the future. So here I want to present you another patient. It's not a Lucas. He's absolutely an positive one, and he totally agreed to share his photo because he's so open. And he said, yes, please show my photo because I overcame so many things in my life, so many operations, so many procedures, but still I'm so motivated to fight with my disease. He said to me that what helped him the most is meditation. So a way of breathing, and he decided to go to India. And even he said to me that during his staying in India, there was a remission of the disease. So he said, as you can read it here, when I went to India, I was in remission all the time, despite eating strange things. Then I returned to Poland, and it all started again. And some other words like my wife and I run a farm. We have horses, bees. We do everything ourselves, like baking bread, growing vegetables, and also raising children. There is so much work that I don't even have the strength to think about illness. For me, the stoma was just the next step to feel better. It was a task that I had to complete. I practiced yoga with my stoma, and even I thought her as a coach. I want others to see that it's possible, that it's not the end of the world. Everything starts in the head. It is about the way of thinking. You need to have a sense of controlling it. If you lose control over it, you lose hope. Yeah, so now I'm also, I work in the field of stoma, and I will share my experience later while talking about IPA. And I really like this sentence. Always walk through life as if you have something new to learn. Okay, so that was narrative medicine. I guess that for you the best... Okay, so I think that you prefer to ask questions at the end, yes?
Yes, Agatha, please go on with your presentation on IPA.
Okay. So now IPA. Yeah, so I'm going to share my screen again. Okay. Not yet. I'm not saying thank you now. Okay. Do you see my presentation about IPA?
Yes, it is on the screen now.
Okay, great, perfect, thank you. it? Okay. IPA, so interpretative phenomenological analysis. It's such a long name, but still I do believe that especially in the field of clinical psychology, it's one of the best methodology, qualitative research methodology. We'll start with saying what the IPA is. So a kind of background, and I'm going to also somehow prove that it's getting more and more popular, especially in the field of clinical psychology. So, as you know, I really like some quotes, so again, but one needs a change sometimes. We take everything too much for granted, including each other. So I love Tove Jansson and Moomins, so that's why I decided to put it here. But absolutely, it's all about people, and it's all about individual stories and sharing individual experience. So a background, I'm not going to, to talking a lot of the theoretical background of the IPA, because there are so many studies, so many materials, lectures that you can find. But just to keep it short, IPA is of course a method of qualitative research, and it's mainly focused on understanding how people give meaning to their life experience. So it's based in both, not only in psychology, but also in philosophy. And first it was described by Professor Smith in 1996. And now it's gaining popularity. I think that at the beginning it was really popular, and then something happened and it was less popular, but now it's getting absolutely more and more popular because it's all about experience. So now it's currently gaining popularity thanks to its application in clinical psychology, psychotherapy, or psycho-oncology. And now I would say for sure, and as you can see, TOEFL in 2017, that IPA is a dominant qualitative research methodology, and I love it. So, it's a detailed analysis of personal accounts, followed by presenting and discussing the experiential themes. And it's typically paired with the researchers on interpretation, which is an expression of double hermeneutics in practice. So, as I told you before, it's not only about psychology, it's also about philosophy. That's why we have this hermeneutics. So one thing is the patient or the participant, because it's not only about patients, but the participant's experience. And another thing is that research's own interpretation is also a part of the study, which is also so important. And it's a kind of, let's say, mix of phenomenology, hermeneutics, and ideography. Okay, so if we are looking for the definition of experience, in Merriam-Webster, I think one of the most popular, popular dictionaries, we can find the definition of experience as a direct observation of or participation in events as a basis of knowledge, the fact or state of having been affected by or gained knowledge through direct observation or participation. And here we have some other, of course, but I think that it's absolutely enough to have this definition. Still, please remember that IPA is all about experience. Okay, so of course I'm going to share the presentation with you. So all of those sources, you are going to have it. But still, please remember why IPA is so, let's say, so good and why it's worth to use it, especially in the field of psychology. It's highly
Agatha,
useful. Yes, please.
I do not mean to interrupt. I just want to make sure whether we are still on the first slide or you are.
No,
Okay.
actually.
On my screen, we are still on the first slide. Okay.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you for interrupting. I don't know why. Let me check it. Sorry for that. And thank you for to share it once again. It works like that, and I don't know why. Do you have a different one now?
Yeah, it's different now.
Okay.
It's about why IPA
Yeah.
on the screen.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you have different slides now?
Yes, Agatha, please go on.
Great, perfect. Thank you. Thank you for your help. Okay, so coming back, I said more about the background. And of course, we are going to share it with you, so no worries at all. So still theoretical background, so I talked about it. I think it's okay. And here I put the definition of experience from Merriam-Webster. So yeah, just in case. And why IPA? Yeah. So here you can find all of, I would say, the most important sources of knowledge. If you are looking for, if you are interested in IPA, so I think that it's totally fine to find those sources. So it's highly useful methodology in providing a rich insight into experience of research participants. Also, forward-looking research approach that adapts a flexible design to understand people experience. And of course, it's perfect for clinical, health psychology, psychotherapy as well. So absolutely. And here I decided to put a graph. You can just, now it's even more visible how it's gaining the popularity. So it's getting more and more popular with every year. And of course, I'm really happy about it. So yeah, here in numbers, but I think that the graph is more, readable and yeah, it visualizing everything. Okay, so you can also see how it's going to be different. Like in 1999, we had one article about it. Then in 2000, 0, but in 2014, 35, and in 2019, 70. So absolutely, it's obvious that it's getting more and more popular. And fields of interest: health psychology, clinical psychology, cross-cultural psychology, psychotherapy, psycho-oncology, psychology of organization and management, and psychology of spirituality. Those fields are covered by IPA. Yeah, still together with one of my student, now he's a psychologist, we published a paper on IPA is getting more and more popular because I feel for me it's a kind of a mission to make IPA popular in Poland. So we wanted to prove that, yeah, it is more popular. And here some of examples of articles published in team, like, for example, exploring dialectical behavior therapy, clinicians' experience of team consultation meetings, experience of self-harm and its treatment in looked after young people and interpretive phenomenological analysis, and like I think very important and hard, I guess, topic like fear, pain, denial, and spiritual experiences in dying processes. This topic, I guess, it's really interesting, and it would be really hard to measure it through questionnaires. So I guess that the only possibility to measure it is through interviews, and of course IPA, so interpretative phenomenological analysis, it's absolutely perfect for that. So in 2020, already in PubMed we have 20 articles, probably maybe now even more, because I prepared this presentation, I guess, in May or in June, so I have even more. And main topics in 2020, so let's call it trends: life with chronic illness, being a practitioner, adolescence experience, being a parent, and some other challenges. And of course, I guess that nowadays it's all about COVID.
Okay.
So in 2020, some articles, still some examples of an article like experience of people with epilepsy, also the value of some specific treatments, like treatment for human epidermal growth factor receptor or immunotherapy, the role of the religion in the recovery of Black African services users in England, or women's experience of recovery-oriented occupational therapy groups following depression. So yeah, working with patients, so still some other. I'm not going to read it, but just, I just want you to be aware. What about the trends now? What we can measure? What was worth measuring in 2020? But please remember about one thing. Yes?
I'm very sorry for another interruption, but
Yes.
There seems to be a problem in switching your slide. So we are still getting stuck on the main slide.
I don't know why.
Would it be possible to make the slide in full mode?
Yeah, I have it like that. Okay.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah?
Yes.
I don't know why. Okay, but yeah, absolutely. Please interrupt me all the time whether
Sorry.
it's any problem. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So just, it's all about, and of course I'm going to send it to you. So of course, when we are talking about IPA in 2020, please remember that there are some different trends, like to check, to measure the experience of people living with some chronic illnesses, working with patients. Also, it's all about education. So I guess that nowadays, of course, in the era of pandemic, it's even more important to check and to measure it. Adolescence experience also, it was a kind of trend in 2020. Being a parent, always, and some other challenges also covered by IPA. Okay. Being honest, of course, I'm a huge fan of IPA, and I have no doubts about it. But still, I have some doubts about using IPA, of course. And I had a lot of conversations with Professor Smith, wondering, is it really for me? Yeah, believe me or not, but sometimes it's not that easy. Devoting a lot of time to analyzing the data, spending enormous number of hours on analyzing, on reading it. Like sometimes you feel almost like this person. You feel like being in his or her shoes. So it's really amazing, but on the other hand, it takes a lot of energy. So you have to ask yourself whether it's really for you. All about ethical to squeeze it like a lemon. When you are talking with someone, you really squeeze every sentence like a lemon. So it's really amazing, I would say. Okay, it's all about standardization. While we are talking about all qualitative methods, it's always the same problem, especially when you are going to publish a paper. Yeah, if you are going to publish a paper, then there are always such questions from reviewers. What about standardization? Oh, it's very subjective, it's not objective. And of course, fortunately, we have a lot of journals which decide to publish qualitative research, qualitative studies, thankfully. But still, it's really demanding. And especially if the reviewer is not into qualitative method, it's the kind of a fight, you know? And it's really hard sometimes to show your point of view. So yeah, I would say that it's also really demanding. And of course, it's all about limitations. About the language, the experience, communication skills. And what about control group? Because there's no control group. And what about hypotheses? Because you cannot put any hypothesis. You can only ask. So yeah. Meanwhile, I see that some of you write something to me. I'm sorry, I'm not going to read it now. Is it okay for you if I read it after?
Yes, you can read it after.
Okay, thank you. So it is all about people and their experience, how we as researchers can understand them better than through their own words, interpretations, and our detailed insights. So thank you for your attention for now. And the last part of my presentation is to share my experience while using IPA. So last but not least. Okay. And fingers crossed that there will be no problem with sharing the presentation. So do you see the third presentation? The title of it is I Don't Want to Live with This Back, and that's my final decision. You see it? Okay, great.
Interesting title.
Okay, thankfully. Great. So that's the last part of my presentation. So really quick view, because still we have a lot of things to say. I mean, my colleagues. I told you about my experience as a psychologist at the gastroenterology ward. But in fact, in my memory, there will always be a 38-year-old patient with Crohn's disease who refused stoma-forming surgery. I don't know whether you are familiar with stoma-forming surgery. In a minute, I will tell you more. But in fact, this patient, despite the treatment, the inflammatory process developed very rapidly, and it resulted in cardiorespiratory, and it led to his death, unfortunately. And for me, it was really hard because it was like my second week of work at the gastroenterology ward, and it was really, really hard experience. He had an operation to head the stoma, so that was really, really hard. I also asked myself whether appropriate education, as well as working on the patient's approach towards this procedure, can be helpful. So I decided to perform an IPA study, also to check whether there is such a possibility. So in Poland, there are 40,000 people with stoma. It's from the 2017, but I'm pretty sure that more or less now it's the same. And in UK, every year, more than 13,000 people have stoma surgery. So I'm not going to tell you more about those diseases because I told you before. So here's the just a few words about stoma, and it's a kind of artificial opening in the bowel, and thanks to that, the bowel is onto the surface of the abdomen, and then there is access to have it. But on the other hand, sometimes it's absolutely necessary. And for some, still, it's a kind of like, I don't want to use a word paradise, but sometimes it works like that because they don't feel pain. You can imagine while walking to the toilet like 15 or 20 times per day, and thanks to having a stoma, you don't have to. And the same with the pain, just simply it goes. You can see some systematic reviews suggest that the stoma has a negative impact on quality of life of the person with the stoma, and of course for the relatives as well. Okay, so of course it's a kind of last resort, and of course this decision-making process is connected with psychological burden, and we can only imagine how hard it is to decide to have such an operation. So some of the research questions, because probably, as you know, in qualitative research methods, we cannot establish hypotheses. We can only establish research questions. So that's the main difference between quantitative methods and qualitative ones. Because, of course, in quantitative methods, we can put hypotheses, but in qualitative ones, we can only put research questions. So I decided to establish two of them, like how do people make the decision whether or not undergo stoma forming surgery, and how do people who have decided not to undergo stoma forming surgery experience their disease. So here I just briefly wrote why I decided to choose qualitative analysis. Of course, because it's not possible to measure it through questionnaires, and I really wanted to check the experience of patients. So only through IPA, I guess, it was possible to investigate how they make sense of their experience of life with disease. So that was the most important part. And their experience, their perceptions, of course. Also, I wanted to compare it with previous studies, and it was based on IPA and focused on life with stoma. Why IPA? Of course, to check how people give meaning to their life experience, and of course, you know what IPA is. So in my study, 7 adults took part, so 3 men and 4 women. And sometimes it's funny when people say, oh, really, such a study, only 7 people took part in it, only 7 participants. Yes, it's a qualitative study, so definitely 7 is absolutely enough. Sometimes, believe me or not, even 2 of them are okay. Even case study. So 1 participant and well-described case study is also okay. So why not? So sometimes 2, it's also totally enough. So 6 patients were recruited from my hospital, and 1 of them volunteered for the study himself after he went forum. So I asked all of them the in-depth semi-structured interviews. Also, mostly I met with them face to face. Of course, it was a few years ago because it was in 2018, so it was possible to meet with each other. And of course, they were informed about the aim of the research. They were assured of anonymity, and all of interviews were audio recorded using dictaphone, and then it was described verbatim, word by word. And it took ages, really. So the shortest interview, it was like 27 minutes, and the longest one was more than 1 hour. So the medium, it was less than 1 hour, but still, it's never-ending story. I mean, transcribing, it's never-ending story. And sometimes, because I have a great opportunity, also thanks to Professor Bidzan, to have my own faculty, and the name of it is Qualitative Research Studies in Clinical Psychology. And sometimes, when I have some problems with my students, I ask them to do the transcription. It's a kind of punishment. I'm just joking. Also, interview, like, could you please tell me how do you feel right now? Could you tell me about your professional? What are you facing every day? How do you deal with them? How do you think your life would be if you had not suffered from a chronic gastrointestinal disease? Why have you decided not to have the stoma forming surgery? Please tell me what life with stoma means to you. Do you feel that the stoma forming surgery can impact your social and or professional life in any way? When you think about the future, what do you think about? So about concerns, hopes, and dreams. So here I put some primarily preliminary findings and some words, some of my patients' words. So I'm not going to read all of it. You can read it now or after, but just, as an example. At the beginning, as I found out that my bowel is already so, there was such a breakdown, there was crying, there were nerves. I didn't know what would happen. I didn't know anyone with a stoma. Well, I just thought, well, I don't know. I don't remember that much anymore. But it seemed to me that it was such a fear about the child. Yeah. And another example, later when I was at home, I found out that, okay, maybe it would be better because they said that there would be no steroids, that there would be no anemia, there would be no disease. And I realized that maybe it would be great. But later, there was a chance for this biological treatment. It is said that you have to use all the chances before making the final decision. Yeah, so those analysis so far emerged 4 categories, like personal perception, external factors, education, and hope. So personal perception mostly connected with biases, fear of change, fear of surgery, acceptance of illness. Factors like treatments or process of diagnosis, education, so lack of education or improper education, and hope for example, new types of treatment like this biological treatment. So what also some, my findings were connected that all participants preferred not to touch this subject. And it was like magical thinking. If I don't talk about it, then it doesn't exist. And as you can see, living with a stomach bag can be beautiful, and that's what I'm trying to also show my patients. Of course, my role is not to convince them about the surgery, but showing the possibilities and showing that living with ostomy bag is also possible. I'm not going to present case studies because we don't have enough time, especially that I present person, thankfully. But for me to do anything like that, so I'm really proud of my patients. Okay, so now I'm going to stop to share the screen. May I read
So I do it, Agatka.
Okay.
And
yeah. So yes. So
and-
maybe I will just mute my microphone. Okay.
yeah. So we won't continue as you see. As you see, Agatha's dizzy goes away before such audience. So now we want to tell you something from our experience, how doing qualitative methods during pandemic COVID. As you see, since the COVID pandemic started, many areas of life change. The pandemic will take more time. Social distancing will be continuous, maybe expanded. The current circumstances we are all facing or are challenging in our work, home and family lives. And as you see, we can do our research in all these areas. Of course, we tell a lot of from our experience. We all three clinical and health psychologists, because of it, our experience are strictly connected with it. But as you see, our research should be done in all areas you are affected by COVID. As we told, of course, those times aren't normal, but we can see new normality. Of course, we don't have to give up our research because our research are very interesting, and the pandemic will take more time. Social distancing will be continued. Challenging studies are before us, quantitative and qualitative, and I think that it's sometimes very good to join, to connect quantitative with qualitative strategy. Because of it, our results are more deeper. Of course, we don't have the two delimited research to COVID-related issues. We have our area research, and we should them continue. But of course, COVID pandemic is also inspired us to do new research. And of course, we have limited access to potential study participants because of social distancing. Research results being destroyed due to the epidemiological situation, for example, anxiety, chronic stress, deprivation, and of course we have difficulties in carrying out experiments, in carrying out qualitative studies. But of course, we have solution, and qualitative method. I think, as Agata told, is one of the solution to improve our research during pandemic time. Why qualitative analysis? Because sometimes it's completely impossible to measure using quantitative methods. But of course, we have always problems. Which methodology should I choose? I think that IPA It's a very good choice, as Agatha and our moderator know the best. Qualitative analysis are also very good this time, because it's possible to analyze the experience of patients suffering from, but not only patients, but also other people. It's possible to identify the factors affecting their decision too. It's possible to investigate how individuals make sense of their experience of life with some disease, with some problem. And we have a possibility to research the perception of life with disease, with problem, and interpretative phenomenological analysis to compare with previous studies, because it's very good to choose such methodology which doing us possible to compare our result with a previous study.
And actually, what could we do during this pandemic time? One of the solution is to continue our old research topics. And another solution is to study some pandemic problems. And today we are going to talk more about our project, about pandemic, of course.
And we want to tell you about our study, qualitative analysis of anxiety and health outcomes in the context of symbolic representation of COVID among the elderly in Poland and Mexico. We choose Mexico because my brother lives there, and we have possibility to have research participants from those countries, thanks to that. It believed that the risk of serious complication and this due to COVID-19 increases with age. For us, elderly were so interesting group. The elderly are at the risk of developing a variety of psychological issues such as anxiety or fear of becoming infected and dying. So we decided to have our study, as you see, our university, our department of social science, and we used a cut-off age of 60 years to define elderly adults, as proposed by the World Health Organization, because of course in many research we have a cut-off age, for example 65, but we decided to take a proposal by the World Health Organization. And this study explores the impact of the COVID pandemic on perceived anxiety, health outcomes in the elderly, using interpretative phenomenological analysis. Agatha told about it, I think, almost everything. And why we decided to use qualitative method in our research those times. First of all, COVID is the first pandemic to have spread so incredibly fast on a global scale. In addition, we currently know little about the nature, sources, and routes of transmissions and consequences. Secondly, COVID-19 has led to lockdowns in the majority of countries around the world. Now Poland have almost deep lockdown. This has paralyzed economic, social, educational, culture, and familial activity, resulting in people spending more time contemplating these. Thirdly, only qualitative analysis would allow us to explore this phenomenon truly in the relevant population. Of course, as we told 2 days ago, quantitative research are very, very popular, and of course, they are very, very important. But to keep deeper, to analyze deeper feeling of people, a qualitative method is useful. I don't tell you about IPA because Agata told it very, very clearly. But I want to tell you why we choose this method. First of all, we currently observing the increasing dynamic development of qualitative research methodologies, not only in psychology, but also, for example, in sociology. Qualitative researchers focus mainly on meaning, the ways in which individuals interpret the world, how they experience different events, and the meaning they ascribe to various phenomena. In other words, they put much more emphasis on the quality of the experience than do quantitative research. And second, it has been suggested that it's appropriate to use qualitative methods when studying phenomena that are less or when the study lacks a guiding framework.
Okay, so one moment. Now it's my turn. So I'm going to share my presentation. Sorry. Okay, one moment. Okay, so here we go. This one. Okay, so now talking about our study. Our study group consisted of 17 individuals, so it's more than enough. And we had 11 males and 6 females. 10 were from Poland and 7 were from Mexico. And actually this part of recruitment, it looked like this, that we involved a general conversation about the pandemic, which was meant to encourage respondents to take part in this study. And after the participants agreed to take part in the study, the respondents were asked to fill in the questionnaires and answer open-ended questions online. And we sent them a link to this questionnaire, and they also took part in a structured interview conducted through social messaging apps. So it was done like this. And something about procedure. So the participants had to answer the following question. If you were to present the coronavirus symbolically, what phrase would you what phrase is coming up with? So and we focus on the semantic context of this material, the context and the use of language itself. So these are our results, and one moment. And our participants talked about benefits and difficulties as well, changes in their behavior and other symptoms they had experienced during this pandemic period. And our analysis identified 7 superordinate topics, including 4 only chosen by one individual. And actually what is interesting, we found out that 2 topics were similar in both population, in Polish and in Mexico. And one of these topics were religious and mythological. And another topic which was common to this population was power. We are going to talk about this a little bit later. And for example, a Polish woman said that COVID is the final warning before the first 21st century extinction. And when she was asked how she perceives the current pandemic situation, she mentioned that actually there is one positive thing, that the government was doing something about it. But of course, there was difficult. Actually, this person described coronavirus as the dance of death. So it's this religious topic as well. And another one said that COVID is a Satan, and this person assessed the current situation negatively. And this person said, I'm worried it is difficult because nobody knows how long it will last. So these were some of the examples. And actually, a person from Mexico said that coronavirus for him is a scream coming out from the gloamy of Gaia, seeking care, attention, and love. And this person said that of the pandemic were, for example, time to read, the chance to do some work, cook, spend time with the family as well, talk to friends and family, but not during this time of the lockdown. And this man could also communicate with his students, although he missed direct contact with them. And he mentioned as well that the pandemic made him wonder if we should reconsider the role of human beings on the earth. So it was this. And another interesting subtheme connected to this topic about religious appeared in our research. And for example, one person from Poland gave that as a symbol for COVID, and he found the social discipline to be a positive part of the pandemic. And actually, one of the person from Mexico answered the same. So said the coronavirus is dead. So it was the same answer as this man from Poland gave to us. And another topic, I told you before that it was the second topic which was common to these two populations. It was power. And actually, two individuals from Poland gave answers which suggested that COVID was related to power. And one person said that COVID is a man in a crown. And actually, we could find almost the same answer, which was given by one person from Mexico. So it was interesting that actually our culture are a little bit different. We are from different continents, but even with this, we can find the same topics about coronavirus. And another topic which appeared when the people described coronavirus was weapon. And actually, yes? I thought that somebody wanted to say something, but okay, maybe it was by accident. So weapon, and actually two people from Poland visualized COVID as a weapon. No such category was identified in the Mexican population. And one person from Poland said that COVID is a symbol of an atomic bomb, and another person said that it is an arrow. And other topics which appeared, and these topics were chosen by individual respondents, so only one person said, for example, that COVID is the plague or the crappy. And what is interesting, a man from Mexico said that COVID looks like porcupine. This animal, you can see this on this photo. So these answers appeared, and as well, one person said that COVID is a warning, and maybe right now we should stop a little bit, and we should be more aware of this, what is happening in our life, and we shouldn't be so fast as we used to be. So it was it. And another theme which was appeared was the disintegration of a particle into powder. And what is interesting, another thing, a lot of things are interesting when we are doing this qualitative analysis, because as Agata said, we are deeply in these words of our participants. And what was interesting, that among individuals who made reference to religion, mythology, the majority of women perceive the current situation as difficult. And partially because of this, that we don't know how long the situation would last. And two men gave the same answer, referring to the illness and weapon themes. And actually, we can also observe the cultural differences. For example, more men from Mexico responded that the situation is difficult. And actually, nobody from Poland answered that this COVID situation is difficult. So it's something about this nation. And the answers of male Poles and Mexicans were similar from this man who chose that COVID has some connections with death and weapon in these categories. And this person associated the current situation with social discipline. And the answers about what would help us during this COVID pandemic, actually the most frequent responses were experience, family, religion, praying, staying in touch with other people, and activity. So I think that especially for us, for people who are doing research, it's really good that we can be still active, even when we can have this direct contact, of course, with our groups, which is important for us for our research. I mean, via Skype or via Zoom, but we can still do something. But there are so many people who can't do anything. So we are still happy that we can still be active. Yes, so that's this.
Of course, during pandemic, we have limited access to potential study participants, but especially young people, but not only young, use new technology. So, online service, as we did it during pandemic time, telephone interview, or using some, for example, Facebook or something like that are very important. Of course, effectiveness of online service highly depends on their design, on methodology. And as we told you 2 days ago, even qualitative studies, it's very nice to control, for example, anxiety, fear of COVID, because it's very, very important, and we can do our qualitative analysis more deeply. And of course, a lot of depends on the theoretical models we want see. Agatka, the last slide. So, because our time is finished and we will have time for questions, we have nice something for you. Agatka?
Yes. To just, to sum up, or maybe just to have a kind of activity, probably we don't have time to perform it fully, but I don't know whether or not you are familiar with such cubes. Those cubes are for storytelling, and as it's written, for humans, life is meaningful because it is a story. So I want you, as a kind of homework, to create your own story. And I decided to have those cubes and how to use it. Those storytelling cubes. I think that it's possible to buy it via internet for sure. And there are many various different kind of cubes. I have connected with medicine, of course. And now I'm going to roll it and I'm going to show you the outcome. Okay, so that's the first one. I don't know whether you see. First one. The second one is a face mask. So this one is, I guess, it's an outcome of electrocardiogram. And this one is a face mask. So absolutely, it's extremely important nowadays. And here, there's a helicopter. So I want you, all of you, as a kind of homework after our presentation today, to write your own story based on those three different I think that I can say that those are so first of them, it's an electrocardiogram. The second one, it was a face mask, so nowadays extremely important. And the last one was a helicopter. So I want you, as a kind of homework, to create your own story based on those three images, three pictures. Why it's so important? Because for now you are just trying to create something. You are going to be very creative and so on. But on the other hand, there is always a reason why you decided to create such a story, why you put all of those words and so on and so on. So I want to encourage you to write such a story, to read it out to yourself, maybe to your colleague, maybe to your friends, maybe to your family, and to share it with others, or to keep it just for your own, but just, to devote some time and to know better yourself. Thank you.
And it will be first step for our common research. So I think that let's go out. Please send us your stories, and we will prepare everything. Yeah. So thank you for your attention, and today a new picture from our 360, and we are waiting for your questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mariola, Agatha, and Ilona. Really, thank you for introducing us with narrative medicine, Agatha, and also quantitative phenomenological analysis. And coming to the session of questions and answers. Actually, we are now past the time limit, but if it is okay for you to have extra time for participants to raise questions, possible to have extra time, Agatha?
Yes, of course.
All right. Thank you. Okay, let's go to chat box. Maybe we have questions. We have questions from Apri Hatiningrum. Hi, Apri. Can you read the questions in the chat box, Agatha?
Yes.
Okay. Please respond to the question, please.
Some of them, it was...
Go to the question from Apri Hatiningrum.
Okay, because some it was written something privately, so but the public one is. Thanks, Agatha, for insight and experience using IPA. Such a blessed to get to know you. But I guess it's popular not only in the field of clinical psychology or psychotherapy, but also in the management and the management area. So absolutely, and congratulations publishing the paper.
Okay, Agatha, we have another question from Agustin.
Yes.
That's right, below the question of Apri Hatiningrum.
Yes. Hello, Agatha. I'm glad to listen in your presentation. So I want to ask you, how about doing qualitative methods in pandemic area? You can give tips and strategies. Thank you. So I guess that more or less Professor Gizan and Ilona, they covered the topic. I'm pretty sure for that. But talking about qualitative research methods now, it's very demanding, and now we are facing the problem while having some other projects connected with not only IP but also different qualitative methods, how to perform interviews in an effective way. Because of course we can use Zoom, we can use Skype or whatever, but on the other hand, I'm not convinced because I'm a very social person. And I do appreciate the real contact. And I think that it's really hard, to read the body language, for example, while having interview through Zoom or whatever. But on the other hand, we have to be thankful that still there is such a possibility that we can use other media. I think it's a good solution also to ask the person whether it's okay for him or her to record the whole interview while using the video chat or Skype or whatever. But still, it's a kind of problem. I think, and from my experience, it came out that it's much easier for a person to forget about being recorded while using dictaphone than using the video recorder. And I guess that using video recorder can somehow cause the feeling of being uncomfortable with that or don't feeling secure. And so it's still about ethical issues. And I think that ethical issues, ethical approval, ethical demandings. It's the biggest problem while pandemic and while performing such a qualitative study and performing interviews. Another thing is...
Excuse me, Agatka. I want to add that it's necessary to have agreement. Participants should agree to use the dictaphone or recording them. And as you told, ethical agreement included it. During pandemic time, nothing happened in organizing our research. I mean, we need ethical agreement of ethical committee.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, we were talking and we were discussing it before that absolutely ethical issues is the most important thing. Also,
Sorry, Agatka.
Yes, please.
I would like just to add one thing, because I've observed that during this pandemic time, when we are using media to contact with patients, some of them, they are more open. They feel more safety when they are in their houses. So sometimes it can be better for us when we are doing our research. But of course, sometimes there is this group which have a big level of anxiety. So this group prefer being in the office, in the hospital, and these people prefer this form face-to-face. So that's all.
Thank you. Yes, I totally agree, and I have the same experience. Talking about the level of anxiety, I think that we should also be aware that for some of our participants, the anxiety of pandemic can be also a factor that it makes the interview more difficult. And of course, sometimes it also works like a kind of maybe therapy for patient, for participant, that okay, it's an interview and it's a kind of research, but thanks to the fact that he or she takes part in interview, he or she can share the experience, share the emotions, share the anxiety. And it's also, it's win-win situation. Because, okay, we gain data, but on the other hand, we give some help and some support.
Topic connected with intervention is very nice topic to do it, because we should on one side choose in which way we do some intervention, and the other one we have good material for qualitative methods.
I see also a question from Diane from Veronica. Problems that need to tackle in developing country is about the internet connection and the cost of phone interview. Do you find also this situation in Poland? What kind of strategies all of you can offer regarding this matter? Being honest, for now I haven't faced such a problem. About you, Professor Ilona?
Yeah, we haven't such problem connected with cost, because we have very good now possibilities to choose operator with many free minutes to all country from European Union, not only from Poland. but we have sometimes problems with internet connection. Also, we have a very nice and very quickly Wi-Fi. So sometimes, especially in the afternoon in Poland, I have problem to give a lecture. So it's good that for us, our lecture are in the morning. Of course, in Indonesia, we know it's afternoon. But of course, you are right that developing countries should have more problems in such things. But I think that a good idea is to give a link via, for example, Facebook or other social media, and even and very structured questionnaire, and to have possibility to ask additional question. Because if we have such possibility in link or via mail, we could do with qualitative methods almost the same as on PACE. Of course, in many situations, we can do our research pace by pace. Of course, with restriction, mask and social distance, it's possible. But of course, for example, we want to do research and our participants are people who have COVID. Of course, it is impossible this time to be with them. It's possible in the situation if you are a psychologist in hospital and you are working with such people. But I think in other situations we can do it. But of course, we should remember about distance, social distance, about mask, and sometimes there are such glasses between us and participants. So we should do the best. But I think that all solutions kind of doing research. I like connecting them. As I told you earlier, I like quantitative methods connected with qualitative methods, but of course all solutions are very, very good, and they are you could choose.
Okay, thank you. Someone is raising hand, please. If you want to ask questions directly, just turn your microphone on and you can ask the questions to our three speakers.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Good afternoon. My name is Shuruk Qadous. I am a Palestinian girl.
Okay, thank you. Please.
A third year PhD student in Prince Songkula University, Thailand. Actually, it's very interesting topic because I am also published a paper in descriptive phenomenology, qualitative study. It was a
Look.
I don't think you.
Yeah. Hello,
trustworthiness.
Would you please repeat your question, because we lost your voice a couple of seconds ago.
It's okay now?
Yeah, please go on with your question.
In interpretative phenomenology, one thing that we have to be concerned is the trustworthiness. So I would like to ask you regarding to your study, how you check the trustworthiness before you get the result in your study. Thank you so much.
Okay.
May I answer the question?
Okay, please.
Well, from my experience, it works like that it's all about saturation. And of course, you should always have to say where's the, and strongly connected with cultural issues. And trustworthiness is also especially in qualitative methods. It's based in the culture of...
We do such research as we did. We should have nice native psychologists because, as Agata told, the culture differences are so deep sometimes that if we will use normal translation, usual translation, it should country. So we also did it, and we, thanks to my brother and their friends, we have such possibility to have, I think, reality.
Okay. Thank you. Is there any other question, please? Your hand. In understanding deeper how to use qualitative research, especially interpretative and logical analysis, Agatha, we have the same spirit as yours in making this IPA band.
Thank you, very nice atmosphere.
To everybody, and I thank you very much.
Dian Ratna Sawatri, the Dian of this faculty, do you have...
And also this workshop successfully.
My pleasure.
Hopefully we can keep in touch with
Professor, come from. Take a picture together, Hans.
Picture taking.
Similar experience that our thank you for invitation us and thank you.
Makasih ya, Hans. Makasih, Hans.
Makasih. Aku tadi ini
Apa?
telat terima biodata. Apa ya?
Santai aja ya. Makasih ya, Hans,
Okay,
dengan
makasih.
belangkonnya.
Ya, thank you.
Itu Mariola nanya